Kamala won. Today is November 5th, 2024, and this is the day of the US presidential election. And today, Kamala Harris will win the election. Unequivocally, undisputed. Even if she loses, America will win. I watched dozens of experts on many channels, and many said Kamala Harris was grey, unremarkable, and her campaign was said to be full of lies. She has been severely criticized for not admitting that her support for Joe Biden's candidacy was a mistake. And they said she could not be forgiven for pretending that everything was okay with him, with Biden. They say she is dishonest. She is just a puppet of Barack Obama and the party. With her as president, the US will not have a president. And with all these harsh statements, some of which are very accurate, here is a definitive fact. Half of the American public still voted for her today. True, a small number of them elected her today out of hatred of Donald Trump, but most of them do want her as president and see what she represents as their shared dream. And that is what I will have to explain today. In a parallel talk, I explain what the secret of Trump's magic is and why he will win today. So when you finish watching this talk, please go straight to the next. You can do it with a small click when I am finished with Kamala Harris. America today stands at a crossroads. Voters are asked to decide between Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris and former Republican President Donald Trump. They must decide on one of two ways in which the greatest of the world's countries will move forward in the next 4 years. Ostensibly, these are very different ways. On the face of it, it seems that the United States is indeed divided in its heart today. Polls show complete equality between the candidates. The inland states are painted red. Those on its shores were blue. Indeed, one might think that America can be divided into two independent countries. Half the people of the country today want to return America to the glory of its past, that is, to make America great again. On the other hand, half seek to realize the American dream, freed from the burden of the past. What can be, unburdened by what has been. And let there be no doubt, this is indeed a significant crossroads in terms of the administration's policy in the coming years. But voters are also being asked today to decide on the ideal of America, on the image of the worthy American. In the first part of this talk, I will present the image of America after Kamala Harris' victory. I will briefly present a path she promises to pave for Americans starting January 20th, 2025. But that is not the uniqueness of this talk. Its uniqueness is its psychoanalytic and psychopolitical approach, which makes sense of the riddle. Why do half of Americans, despite Harris's shortcomings, still support her for president? What do they find in her? What does their heart ask for? What is the life they seek to realize? And why is Kamala Harris the ideal of that life? What is their American dream? Hello, I am Professor Gad Yair, and this is the channel of truth, academia, science and culture. And today I will offer you an analysis of the winners of the elections from an approach of political psychology or from an approach of culture and mind and political ideals. A year ago, someone collected in a video dozens of times when Kamala Harris said a sentence that was like a mantra, like a logo. What can be unburdened by what has been. We're not looking to go back like Donald Trump, she says. We do not want a dark, racist America that is open mostly to elitist, Harvard-made WASP elites of yesteryear. No, we want to move forward to an America that is open to all. And in order for our forward movement to be meaningful, we must reduce the burden we carry from the past, a burden that slows us down, limits us, forces us to walk the same path over and over again, to say the same slogans over and over again. Now let us dream of what is possible, what can be, unburdened by what has been, and let us go with the American dream promised by the country's forefathers as far as we can. We will paint our dream as the rosiest, the most optimistic, the richest, and then, unburdened by what has been, without the weights of the past, without the shackles of the past, without the accusations and the obligations and the habits of the past, we will translate our dream into practice. It could be America that is so much more American for all of us. Then let us choose what can be without the burden of the past. Elect me, the first woman to serve as President of the United States of America. And when you distill the seemingly simple saying, what can be unburdened by what has been, and think about what kind of America Kamala Harris will bring if she can embroider her what can be dream and then translate it into unburdened by what has been, then this America would seem to be a mosaic of peoples and cultures, an America that recruits the best minds and talents from all over the world, an America that will know how to protect those who fail, those who did not stand up to the competition and fell by the wayside. An America that will understand the deep meaning of being bedeviled by the past and will give those who have arrived with heavy weights on their shoulders and shackles to their thighs the opportunity they deserve, namely to run with everyone forward and as far as they can. What they can be, unburdened by what has been their past. This is an America that will not be ashamed to tell its rich people, you exaggerated. You have exaggerated your wages and corporate profits. You have exaggerated greed. You have exaggerated the exploitation of the inherent weakness of others. This is America that will dream of repairing the world, and this is America that will fix the world, first at home, then abroad. But let me shift gears and point out the dream of half the Americans who today elected for themselves as president that which they never imagined just 3 months ago. A magic trick has happened here in the last decade in America. But a decade ago, when Hillary Clinton ran for president, some said a woman would never win a race for the White House. Not even Bill Clinton's wife, with all her connections and roles and clear support from a sitting president. But now, less than 10 years later, and none of this shit, oops, that's Trump stock shit. Anyway, none of this misogyny has been said about Kamala Harris. Suddenly, it's pretty obvious to Americans that a woman can also serve them as president. Some thought that Kamala Harris might not be the right person for the role, but not because she was a woman. Think about this dramatic cultural shift reflected here. And we're within touching distance of what seems to have been impossible or what was unthinkable just a decade ago. A woman, an American president. A first, because America paved the road and opened the door and ultimately made a dream come true. And in that sense, if only in that sense, Kamala Harris did show us what it means to what can be unburdened by what has been. It is another embodiment of the promise that America is the land of unlimited opportunity. Barack Obama opened the gate and stepped from an imagined world to a world of action. He was the president. And only 16 years ago, a black president was elected to lead America. So yes, now it is obvious to everyone that even a woman of minority background can serve as president of the United States of America. So when Americans elect Kamala Harris today, they choose the America that is the land of opportunity. They tell themselves again what Barack Obama promised. Yes, we can. If we will, with perseverance and tenacity, there is no mission that America cannot accomplish. There is no destiny that it cannot fulfill. And the election of Kamala Harris fulfills this promise made by almost every American president, a Republican like Ronald Reagan or a Democrat like Johnson. Kamala Harris is the realization of the dream of the king, as Barack Obama called Martin Luther King. He had a dream, he said, and we woke up and there it was. Kamala Harris was elected president. America is a country of immigrants, and when an immigrant arrives at her shore, it tells him, dream what your children can be, because they can live unburdened by what has been. They would be free like Kamala Harris was. They too could be the president of this open and enabling country. So welcome and start dreaming your American dream, and we will do as much as possible that your children will live unburdened by your past. They will not be restricted by the persecutions you experienced, the poverty you came from, the culture that you hailed from. Your children can choose to live liberated, free, unburdened by what has been. No, we will not force them to forget where they came from. After all, this is America. We are neither Russia nor China. We are not a land of coercion. We are the land of invitation. So dream your dream, the immigrant, and give your child the opportunity to realize what generation after generation of immigrants have realized before you. Dream like those who sailed down the coast of this country, from the Mayflower through the cactuses of Mexico to the Boeing Dreamliner. And when they vote at the election today, immigrants know that Kamala Harris walked the American talk. She fulfilled the promise made to Kamala Harris' parents. Her father emigrated from Jamaica, her mother from India. They were the first generation, and she is the president of this country. So when they cast their vote today now for Kamala Harris, immigrants and the children of immigrants all know, yes, our children will have the freedom to be president, because this is indeed the land of unlimited opportunities, a land where everybody can dream what is possible and realize it as much as possible. What can be unburdened by what has been. Some say that until 3 generations ago, a Jew could not have attended Harvard, and a woman could not enter through the same door with men into a seminar room at Harvard. And the room itself was painted bright white, just like the color of its occupants. But today, the Jews and the women are there, like the Muslims, like the Sikhs, like the Buddhists, not as a curiosity, as a method, as a system, as an educational method, as an educational system dreamed of by minorities and immigrants and the poor and implemented by Democrats and Republicans. They worked together so that no American child, no matter their origin, would be left behind because they were burdened by what has been. And because of that dream, we moved from separate schools to shared education for all. We have moved from academic frameworks for the elites to higher education that is open for all. We made a revolution in education because we dreamed it is possible. And then we acted, unburdened by what has been. We reenacted laws, we mobilized resources and recruited new resources, and we changed America from a dream reserved for the few to a country that fulfills the dream of the many. And we did it through education. So when Americans vote now for Kamala Harris, they know that education and health and opportunity are important for her. Not the reduction of education, rather its expansion, making it affordable for all, and with a moratorium on past debts. Because only through education can all Americans realize their country's dream. Only education can break the bonds that bind children's futures to their parents' limited and limiting past. In a profound psychological sense, then, Kamala Harris symbolizes the dream of open America, standing as a shining city on a hill with a lighthouse, inviting all freedom seekers to its land. It is the dream wish of half of the Americans who want to see the values engraved on the heart of this great country come true, just as they were realized in the personal story of Kamala Harris. Even if her path was paved through studies at Howard University rather than at Harvard University, Kamala Harris demonstrates that step by step anyone in America can realize their American dream. She symbolizes the possibility, the openness of the social and political order in America. And she also demonstrates the way. She shows that even without a spoonful of money in his mouth and many dollars in an inheritance, any talented American can overcome his or her past burdens and become the President of the United States of America. And so I think Kamala Harris will win today, because she shows many Americans that they can overcome the past. They can dream the future, and then, unburdened by what has been, she will help many Americans realize their dreams through government policies. This will raise all ships in America, and many more Americans will share in the promise of wealth and happiness. Yes, Kamala Harris shows many Americans that the Wild West is still open, and that if they will it, they too can rise. And so the first female president of the United States of America will put them on the saddle too, and they too will be able to get on a horse and gallop on to realize the American dream as sons and daughters of liberty. And is there a greater victory than that? Please click to support my channel for more English talks like that, and click now on the square in front of you for a talk where I will tell you that Donald Trump won the elections. Until next time, I am Professor Gad Yair.